My 25 female, co-worker's wife, 40s, thinks I'm having an affair with her husband, 50 male. I think that's the implication, or at the very least, she thinks our relationship is inappropriate. For some context, I've become pretty good friends with my coworker. Recently, a few of us wanted to hang out after work and he wanted to arrange a get-together, drinks and food, that sort of thing. It's been a struggle to set things in stone, though so recently I suggested a restaurant and he wanted to try it to see if it was any good. I don't normally suggest things, so we went around 2 p.m. and left about 6. Cocktails and burritos. Edit. 6 p.m. Today, I received a few calls and texts from my coworker's phone and it was his wife that was on the other end. She asked if I had anything to say for myself, to which I responded with a drawn-out no. She then asked if I thought it was appropriate for a 25-year-old girl to go out drinking with a 50-year-old man. I told her I didn't think it was weird to hang out with a friend and that this sounds like something she needs to discuss with her husband, not me. She then said she's read through all of our messages and, last chance if you're an honest person. The thing is, I haven't done anything inappropriate. There are certainly things in there that could be misinterpreted without the context, so I'll put them in a list and add context after so you can see where she's coming from. A text exchange about giving each other presents. A poem sent to me and my reaction. Picking me up at a petrol station after work. Morning princess from him. Jokes from him. Example. Give it to me. Give it to me, she yelled, I'm so wet. Give it to me now. She could scream all she wanted, but I was keeping the umbrella. For the presents, he got me a football shirt and I got him some donuts. I wanted to say thank because he kindly drops me off home a fair amount because I don't drive. The poem was to cheer me up because of something that happened at work. It was ultimately a misunderstanding and I felt bad that he felt the need to write the poem in first place. I'm an English literature dropout, which is why a poem was the format. Picking me up from the petrol station and the jokes are about the same thing. My brother was recently in hospital for an emergency procedure which has gone quite well. I was pretty upset about it though at the time, so I imagine the jokes were again to cheer me up, but I didn't really have it in me to laugh about anything sincerely. He picked me up and we went to get food where I vented about my brother's situation for a bit. The morning princess is a new thing, he's never said it until recently, but it kind of just lines up with the way he talks. I didn't think it weird, but obviously I can see why a wife would be upset about that. There's nothing untoward from him though, I'm pretty sure he wants me as a daughter-in-law if anything. Mostly what we talk about are his sons and how proud he is of them, what they're doing, etc. He's also talked to me about getting myself sorted out and making a plan about my future, getting back into university, that sort of thing. For where I work he's like a mentor figure for everyone under 40, I'm not the only person he talks to. I don't know what the right thing to do here is. The last thing she asked me was where I lived, and when I said I don't think I'd be telling her that, she laughed and said she already knows. Kind of a dickhead thing to say in my opinion, but she's obviously upset. Should I keep my mouth shut or try to clear things up with her? TL.Dr. Coworker's wife called accusing me of having an inappropriate relationship with her husband. I don't think so and told her this is between her and her husband. Messages between me and him are seen as evidence and she apparently knows where I live. Create some distance between you and the coworker and keep it professional. There's nothing untoward from him though. Girl. Please. Your responses show you know exactly what you're doing. You're a manipulative small person and you'll lose him how you got him, guarantee you that. His wife deserves much better, but y'all clearly deserve each other. You are being a bit naive to be honest, but he is the one she needs to be angry with. I distance myself from him, to be honest. This is not leading anywhere good. You need to grow up and stop acting like a 15-year-old. Shocking. But you can be and are in the wrong. Stop hanging out with this man who clearly has some weird feelings for you and move on. A person's marriage should be more valued than someone's friendship. My 20F boyfriend, 22M, accused me of hiding a pregnancy to baby trap him. I, 20F, have always had problems with my period. It was always irregular and I'd get this immense, bedriddening, vomit-inducing pain that would persist through the whole week. At 16, I started on birth control pills that controlled these issues and made my period manageable. However, within the last year I've had some issues. I had 2 instances where my period would be very light. I would even consider it spotting, that would persist through the whole month. Obviously, this was annoying from a sexual standpoint. My boyfriend, 22M, and I have been dating for 6 months and are currently living together. This issue became irritating for both of us. So, I visited my OB to try a new pill. Lo and behold, this pill brought back the ass-kicking pain I have been avoiding for years now. As terrified as I am to experience this again, I decided to switch back to my old pills and hope they would work for me. I instead shifted my focus on the fact that I have this pain that is obviously not normal and investigate the cause. I had read up on a few things such as endometriosis and asked my doctor about testing for several different things. The first step in this process was an ultrasound. I took my mom to this ultrasound appointment yesterday and even offered my boyfriend to come with me ahead of time because I was terrified of any harsh outcomes. He had class, so I went without him. The results of the ultrasound were normal, and while this is good news, it also stresses me out partially because of the fact that I'll either have to deal with this pain any time I am not on this specific pill, or I'll have to go into surgery to test further. I am very upset with these results and called my boyfriend to talk about it. He was supportive and offered advice, however he mentioned at some point that there's crazy women out there that trap men in a relationship with a baby. It seemed out of the blue to me, as I have had my period, had been drinking with him, etc. He has never had an experience like this, so PTSD or trauma is out. I have never given him a reason to not trust my morality, and I find women that trap men that way disgusting. He requested over the same phone call that I take a pregnancy test and show him. I was taken aback but agreed because I am not hiding anything. I felt terrible. It's not just that he didn't trust me, but he also somewhat accused me of doing something so heinous. Something I would never even think of doing. I took a test when he got home. He followed me into the bathroom because he thought I would dip it in water, by his words. It was dehumanizing to say the least. The test came out inconclusive because it was old, I'm assuming. That just made me feel worse. I got so upset and told him how I felt like he doesn't trust me. I'm not the best at communicating my emotions, so it took me some time to tell him. He started to feel bad and said, "I do trust you, but I have such bad anxiety of being that person." His words and actions up to that point had shown me he doesn't. I ended up going to the store for another test, partially because I wanted to prove my innocence and partially because I needed 5 minutes to myself to let out the anger and sadness that was building in me. Surprise, surprise, the test came out negative. I'm hurt and he's groveling to me at the moment, asking if I have any requests and spending time with me and whatnot. He does seem extremely remorseful. I'm not really sure what to do or how to feel at the moment. Any advice? Too long did not read. My boyfriend made me take a pregnancy test after I got an ultrasound to test for diseases affecting my period pain. Written on mobile, apologies for any mistakes. Someone's been in his ear. They heard, ultrasound, and thought, your girlfriend is taking you to a baby appointment. She thinks that if you see a fetus, that you'll have to stay with her. Oh man, you got baby trapped. Or his brain made the leap. Either way, how he acted here is crazy. This will happen again. Are you happy to be in this position over and over? Does he wear condoms? Because anyone who is so terrified of making a baby should be wrapping it up every time. My boyfriend, 22M. And I have been dating for 6 months and are currently living together. This is your problem. Lose this guy. He doesn't understand how women work, therefore he should not be having sex with one. He's love bombing after testing out a manipulation tactic in order to control you. Leave him. It just get worse. Best of luck. I, 24 male, am no longer capable of taking care of my partner, 24 female. Throwaway account because I'm terrified of judgment. When I first started dating her, she promised me that I would always be taken care of emotionally and that I'd always do the same for her. I truly love her, but I cannot do it anymore. I am completely alone. There is no other person in my life besides her, and yet I am alone. She is sick and I cannot do anything, and the doctors are not helpful either. We've been dating almost 2 years and I have physically taken care of her since she started deteriorating in December just after I lost my job. She has very serious stomach issues which makes me have to shower her, make all her food, help her walk, make phone calls for her even though I barely do it for myself. She has been throwing up and barely able to hold down food. She's very weak and literally unable to do anything. On top of that, her family refuses to help her at all and is always pressuring me to somehow do even more than I already do. I take care of the house mostly by myself, save laundry, because my mother has an injury and is approaching seniority. My stepfather works 45 hours a week and does most outside maintenance. I am not a caretaker. She keeps getting denied disability because they do not believe her. She applied for right when we first started dating, but at this point she was entirely self-sufficient save a few things that I could absolutely handle because of my love for her. But the way she has gone downhill so rapidly is more than I can handle. In my early 20s with no children, and she is the same. I did not sign up for a life as a caretaker. If I had a child I was responsible for, I would take care of them. She does not make it easy to take care of her either. I could be asking her what she needs besides what I have already provided, and she will say no. Then 2 minutes later, after I've sat down, she will stumble into the kitchen, knock things over and attempt to make cereal after all of that. Then my attempts to communicate with her that she cannot do that. She will just say she was in too much pain to ask me. But you are not in too much pain to get up and do it yourself? I ask. She cries, and it is my fault because I, the tired man I am, didn't ask nicely enough. I know old people can become very rude and unwelcoming of the help they require. But this is the same woman who stunned me with her beauty and intellect 2 years ago. Her emotional intelligence was unparalleled. I am unable to find a job if I cannot leave her for an hour without receiving call on top of call. I was in the middle of building a life for myself and for her. But now I don't think it will happen for me anymore if I stay with her. My brother told me to post something on Reddit some time ago, but after tonight I had to. I would love nothing more to be with her if was in better circumstances. But those circumstances cannot come to fruition if all my focus is on her. My own mental and physical health has taken a toll. I am definitely more irritated and less patient than I should be. I have gained weight and my family says I am noticeably more melancholy. Too long did not read. My partner requires care I cannot continue giving. Do I tough it out and hope things get better, or tell her I can't do it anymore? Anyone who judges you can get fucked. That's more responsibility than any one person can handle on their own. May I ask what her illness is and what you mean when you say, the doctors aren't helpful? You can call a social worker, you can drop her off at her family's house, you could do a combination of both. What you cannot do is continue like this. I have that loudly crying. My whole family thought I was making myself vomit. I was finally diagnosed with CVS, celiac vomiting syndrome. Thankfully I've had my husband for 11 years plus. We even had 2 kids during all that. While we've had some rough moments not knowing what the future holds, I definitely learned what triggers me and how to cope during an episode. Plus Zofran was my friend lol. Now as I got older it just stopped tremendously and I haven't had an episode in about a year, but I still get nauseated from time to time. She needs professional help that you're not qualified to give. What if this is the best it ever gets? Are you ready to basically forfeit your life for this person? Get a disability lawyer and she will be approved more than likely. My 31F fiancé, 29M, makes more than 41% more than me but thinks we should split expenses 50-50. Edit. I forgot to include that we put the wedding in hold as we both feel we aren't ready for marriage. Disclaimer. Sorry for the long post, but there are lots of details. Hi everyone. I have been with my fiancé for 9 years, and we have always struggled with finances in our relationship. My fiancé believes that everything should be split 50% 50%, while I still take care of most of the household chores. When we first moved in together, I was responsible for paying bills, credit card debt, and purchasing household essentials, while my fiancé paid the rent. I managed the home by cooking and cleaning, and typically, when we would go out for fun or entertainment, he would pay. Our outings can get a little expensive. My car ended up breaking down and he ended up loaning me his car, but as I was using it more, he told me to take over the payments, so I took over the payments. My fiancé would remarks about me not helping enough financially, and I often had a hard time making ends meet, which made me feel bad, so I started asking people for loans to help more. After I got a better paying job, I started helping with half of the rent, while he still paid for all of the outings. Whenever we went on vacation, I paid for flights, hotels, and rentals, while he paid for the activities, but he always complained afterward that he was spending more money than me. Recently, I got a better paying job, but it is a salary position, so I am unable to get overtime. With my new role, I still make significantly less than my fiancé. I helped build his resume and helped him get a higher position as well. With his new role, he still makes about 41% more than me with his base pay. He oftentimes works overtime and almost always exceeds his base pay, so most times it's a little over 41% more than me. We recently agreed to purchase a new SUV, and he was to help with half of the bills and the full insurance, while I was to help with half of the SUV and a little more when we have outings. Everything was going great until I wasn't able to make ends meet for my portion of the SUV payment, and he ended up not paying me his portion of the bills. I was fine with that because it was almost an even exchange monetarily. There have been about 3 times that I have missed payments for the SUV, but he hasn't really sent me his portion of the bills in about 8 months. When he pays the full truck payment and I pay all of the bills, he ends up paying 62% of the expenses and I pay 38%. When I was helping with half of the truck, he was paying 57% and I was paying 43%. He recently started complaining again because of the missed truck payments on my part and told me that he wants me to take over the full truck payment because I use the truck more. If I take over the truck payments and continue to pay the household expenses, he will be paying 51% and I would be paying 48%, leaving me with significantly less money from my paycheck. When we currently go on outings, he pays about 60% and I pay about 40%, but he says that it is still unfair. I am feeling frustrated and overwhelmed, and I am not sure what would be a fair way to split our expenses. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. I just want to make sure I understand correctly. The rent is split 50-50 and the utilities are supposed to be split 50-50 as well, but he hasn't paid his half in 8 months? You guys agreed to get the SUV together and split the payment. I don't think it matters who drives it more, that was the agreement. How often are you guys going out and whose idea is it generally? Finances and share of household work should be equitable, not equal. Those who make more money and have less debt load, pay more of the share. Those who do more of the household work, and make less, pay less. Just looking at what you're paying for here, and you definitely pay more than he does. He's the leech here. What a selfish, greedy little man. Why do you want that for yourself? Your boyfriend is a mooch. Period. Full disclosure, I only read the first sentence. If you still fight over finances after 9 years, you should have broken up years ago. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. You have different values. If neither of you have given ground after 9 years, you never will. It's long past time to move on. It doesn't have to be contentious. If you continue and get married, you will get divorced.